Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I wanted to tackle two questions I get all the time, and I'm going to do it as best as I can in a general fashion that it'll apply hopefully to your situation. I know everyone's situation is different. How much money do you have? How many cards do you have? How much risk tolerance do you have? But today we're going to talk about investing in value versus price, understanding that distinction, and then ultimately we're going to bring that into the conversation around card flipping. Because card flipping is all about understanding that the value of a thing is different than the price it's listed for. And there are opportunities that come to you sometimes where the card is super low price but high value. And so how do I know when that's the case? What are some tips that you can give me, Dwayne, that are going to help me see that value and identify that low price, and then so I can execute that trade and then make that money? It's really it's hard to put into words, but we're going to try and work through the marketplace together. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to show you some of those thought processes that are going to allow you to generalize in your own search. Because every time you look at that marketplace, it's going to be different. And you need to have general tips and tricks, not just specific, this card is cheap. We need to generalize it. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And before I get into that, my name is Dwayne and I go by Infidel 1258. And on the channel, we cover Splinterlands because it's changed my life and I think it can change yours. So flipping cards is one of the things that have allowed this game to change my life. I started with $5,000 and I've got $140,000 worth of cards. That's largely because of the wild price appreciation that's come about in the last, 6 months or whatever. But even before that, I had turned 5,000 into probably 10,000. And that was a product of, just playing the game and card flipping. And so this game has always paid me, even when DEC was worth nothing, even when there was no SPS, even when there was no rentals. This game has always paid me in a relatively meaningful way because I was extracting a ton from it. And flipping was one of those ways. Buying low and selling high. Let's get into the marketplace and see what we can see, okay? First of all, I sold another big card yesterday. I was able to sell... Oh, they all rented. Nice. Nice. Bunch of cards renting today. So, where is it? I sold a Camilla Sun Gazer, is that what it's called? For $1,100 US. And like I've said several times on the channel, I don't sell cards because they're too expensive. I don't sell cards because I'm done with them. I don't sell cards because they're bad. I sell cards because they reach a certain price point where I'd be happy to extract that value and put it into other assets. Just like sometimes I sell one cryptocurrency because its price has gone up significantly and I can buy cryptocurrency number 2, which hasn't yet pumped. That's my approach to investing, and that's what I've always done, and it's served me well. Card flipping is the same idea. You find a card that has a great value and perhaps a low price, and then you buy it, relist it, wait for it to sell, and then reinvest that value. You might love that card. That card, for instance, Camilla Sungazer, is a card I didn't want to sell, but I have big hopes for SPS. I have big hopes for Chaos Legion. I want to buy more of those other assets, which in my opinion are relatively, compared to the price of this Camilla Sungazer, which cost me $3 per BCX. You see, this cost me $3 per BCX. It cost me $30 for that card. I sold it for $1,100. That massive price appreciation can be reinvested. That's the way to make your account grow. And it doesn't have to be huge cards like that. It can be really small cards. I always found, okay, this is where the tips are going to begin. The first thing is that I do think flipping is easiest. It's not impossible to flip at other times, but it's easiest when the market is quiet, when we're in a bear market. When everything is so chaotic right now, it can be a little more difficult to find really high value, low price cards because everyone is searching the market. Some of these cards there's next to none of them on the marketplace. There's only 139 Lorna Shines. How many Mylors are there? There's only 80 Mylors out there, period. Look at these golds. There's 21 Verislatia golds. Like, there are next to no cards. Some of these cards are in such low supply, it's hard to find a deal. During the bear market, what you're going to find, and so start to learn these techniques now, because when the bear market does come, you're going to see more glut upon the market. So there's going to be more copies of every card. And that doesn't mean that anything changed about its utility. The card is still the same card. It's a good card or it's a bad card. And good cards are going to be worth more in the future because of how they work in their deflationary nature. So just remember that. And then when the prices are low, take advantage. Here's a good example, actually. This is just randomly selected. Flamesmith. It's a low BCX copy, and it's cheaper than the high BCX version. Look, you can buy 1 BCX for $1, or you can buy 14 for 83 cents. Now that's roughly, 17%. No, it's about 20% difference, isn't it? Let's see. 0.836 times 1.2. That's a 20% increase. Let's see what happens. So it's almost exactly a 20% decrease in the price. Now, for $11.70, I can buy this card, and I can immediately relist it for $1. I can immediately relist it for $1. That profit margin is going to make me a profit because it's a 20% discount on the value, and I'm going to relist it for $1. So I'm going to relist it. I'm going to pay $11.70, and I'm going to list it for 14 bucks. Now, it might take a day, a week, a month for it to sell, but assuming there's not a sudden influx of Flamesmiths, which there shouldn't be, right? Because this is an older reward card. This is a dice card, rather. So this card shouldn't suddenly get a huge, massive influx of new cards. This is actually, it's a good example. This is finding high value for a low price. What's the high value? Let's try and break that down. Why does this have high value? First of all, it's a great card. It has repair. It has shatter. It's good at gold levels. It's good at silver levels. It has, see, at silver, it can do 3 archery damage with 4 hit points. It has shatter at bronze. This is a great card at this level, which is 14 BCX, is level 3. It's going to have 5 hit points, shatter, and 2 archery. That's a great card. And it is high mana cost, so that's maybe one of its negatives, but it's a great card. And I think this is something that's going to appreciate with time. Like $11 is a great price for that. But also, it's not just, forget about long term. Now we're talking flipping, right? We're saying, is it a flip? I just showed you, you could list it for 20% more money. Keep in mind, after you sell it for $14, I would list it for 14 because it's got 14 BCX and they're worth $1 per BCX. Sell it for 14, and Peak Monsters is going to take 5%. So you're gonna get $14 gross, or is that net? You're gonna get $14 after the sale, but then you're only gonna get 95%. Oops. You're only gonna get 95% of the value. So you're gonna end up with $13.30. So in the end, you're gonna make minus $11.70. You're gonna make $1.60 US on that trade, and that might take a day, a week, a month, who knows. And sometimes you lose. Sometimes the price, sometimes a ton of these cards get listed later, and then you end up the trade doesn't work out. So I wouldn't buy this one because this margin is pretty thin. I found in my old flipping days when I did this a lot, I found that that a 30%, a 30 to a 50% price differential was the kind of the range I like to look for. And if there was no cards on the market that were in that range, I just didn't buy one that day. Okay? So I just said a lot of things, and I hope you're following me. But one of the basic tips was, again, looking for a low BCX that is cheaper, and it shouldn't be cheaper, but that is listed cheaper than a high BCX. That's the first red flag. It says, wait a second, that's a mistake. This should be $1, not 83 cents. The next thing is it a good card? Like, objectively, are the stats and the abilities at that level meaningful? And I said, yes, they are with this card. And then third question, I guess, first of all, do you have enough money for it? And then fourth question, probably the last question, what's the margin? How much profit can I make on this thing? In this case, we just showed it was 20%. And I feel, for me, 30% is pretty much the floor where I would get into a trade like that. You might have different standards, and maybe you're willing to give that a shot. that right there, I think is going to be $1.60 in someone's pocket. And it might be worth your time. Let's keep looking. So I would look at that and I would say 20%. No, let's keep looking. And I'm going to look at promo and beta and reward. No, let's just look at promo and beta first. Let's just start up here. 155. This is interesting. Look at this. It has 155 BCX. It costs $105. That's not cheap, but it's only 67 cents per BCX. Whereas right here for 500, they're charging 90 cents. And over here for the small BCX, they're charging over $1. This is a strong maybe. But here's the problem. You probably can't do what I'm about to do. But let's work through it anyways. Okay. So like I said, first thing, there's low BCX that is cheaper than a high BCX. 500 is more. 90 cents per BCX. 155 is 67 BCX per BCX, okay? So it's cheaper than a high BCX. That's the first thing is good. We're going to keep looking. Is it a good card? It's an okay card. At that level, 155, it's going to be up here. 2 attack, 4 speed, 1 armor, 5 hearts. It's going to have piercing. It's going to have reach. This card is one I've never really loved. But remember, it is 4 mana. And it's a good card in the right context, like a little league. If you play in gold, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of, it's an interesting card. It's not a great card. And that's going to factor into my decision here. But here's another problem. This card right here has slightly better BCX. It has 172 and they're charging 77 cents. So they're going to be one of your competitors. If I buy this and I put it up for $1, someone's going to say, why don't I just buy this one, right? They're going to be in my way. They're going to be a competitor. They're going to undercut me, and that's going to be a problem for me. So is that a deal breaker? Not necessarily. I could go through and I could buy both of them. They're actually both profitable. This one's about 25% profit. This one's about 35% profit. I could buy both of them, and I could list them both for $1 or $1.10 per BCX. You just like entirely move. You just grab the 2 cheap ones and you just put them at a more expensive price, and you just sit on them until somebody comes along and wants a Minotaur. And in that way, you can do that. And I've done that a ton of times. In some cases, I bought 5 or 6 copies of a card and just eaten up the best cards on the market and re-listed them for double. Sometimes that's one of the best ways to monster flip, because this guy's trying to be quick. He's trying to do a quick sell, but so is this guy. He's trying to do a quicker sell. If you just bought them both and you were patient about it and you were willing to wait like a week, a month, 2 months, it might take a while because Minotaur's not that exciting of a card. It's not meta or anything. But I believe that probably would work out. Probably. But again, you have to weigh the risk versus the reward. It's probably a 30% reward, 35% reward. And the Minotaur, the risk is that the Minotaur's not super sexy and not everybody wants it. In the meantime, the card is going to give you some power, so I guess that's worth it. But then the DEC you're losing is worth more power, right? There's like this whole calculation your brain is going through if you're doing this well. And at the end of the day, I would probably pass on it because the Minotaur is just not sexy enough. And you want a nice sexy card that's going to be bought up quick. So I'm going to keep looking. Right off the bat, no. 500 means it's no thanks. Although there are situations like this where look, this one is so much cheaper. A full maxed out copy is 98 cents each, and the next maxed out copy is $2. That's really potentially interesting. If you play a diamond or champion and you don't have this card, what I might do is I might buy it and relist it for $2 or like $1.75. That's what I would do. I'd buy it and I'd relist it for $1.75, and I would sit on it. That's you buy for $500. Let's see. 175 times 500. I would buy it for $500 and I would relist it for $883. And it might not sell. It probably wouldn't sell. It might be like, you know, a couple weeks, a couple months. It's still in there. I haven't sold it yet. I come back and look at it in a few weeks and I see, oh, now there's still nobody cheaper than me. So maybe I just keep it there on the market. And I just let myself be patient. Maybe it does sell. And then you make 350, probably 340 bucks profit, because remember, Peak Monster is going to take a slice. And that's monster flipping. But what I would be, the thing that I would be doing also in this case, which I haven't explained yet, is this. I would be, if you play this game at a high level, Diamond Champion, this is a card you could technically use. And if you don't already have the Goblin Sorcerer, it is a good card. And so buying it and doing this type of attempted flip, maybe the flip fails. Maybe no one wants to buy it. Maybe at the end of the day, it just sits and sits and sits and no one buys it from you. Well, then maybe you just take it off the market and you use it. And you use it for a year. And then in a year or 2 years, I think, you know how I feel about all these assets. So that would be something I would consider doing. You know, it's very actually tempting. I have enough money to do it. And I don't think I have a maxed out Goblin Sorcerer. That's a strong, like I might actually do that before this video is over, if it's still here when I'm done. I want to try and find one more example for you that's a bit cheaper, because obviously this is super expensive. Let's keep looking. Let's try and find like a card that I would consider sexy. The Armorsmith. Okay. The Armorsmith is a card that rents for a lot. The Armorsmith is a card that's got great utility for low mana. The repair rate of the gate makes it functional at every level. Bronze, silver, diamond, gold, all of it, champion, all of it. This card is excellent. But look, the cheapest card is 500 BCX, like it's a max copy, and it's selling for $2 each. The next cheapest one is 325. I just feel like, even though this is a great deal, and if you wanted a max level copy, it's not a good flip. Usually max level copies are bad flips, usually. Remember up here with this one, I was toying with it because 2 reasons. One, I don't have a max copy of it. I could use it if the sale goes wrong, right? That's important. I could use it if the sale doesn't happen and I end up just, the flip doesn't work. I haven't lost anything because it's a card I want, it's a card I need, and it's a card that would benefit me. So if the flip works, I'm getting 300 bucks. If the flip doesn't work, I'm getting a great card. With the Armorsmith, I already have a good level Armorsmith. Plus it's almost $1,000 and I don't have $1,000. So that's a no for me. Rexy, nope. Silver Shield. Look at this. This one, again, it's $1,000, but look at this one. Max copy has $2 per BCX, and this one's $3.50 per BCX. And look, for individual copies, it's so expensive. But here's the problem: most of the people who play this game play at a lower level, right? Most people, probably like 70% of the players play at gold and below, maybe even 80% at gold and below. And so a card like this at max level is not going to appeal to a wide audience of individuals. That's a good price. If you didn't have a max copy of this, I do have a max copy, I believe. I think I do. So I'm going to pass on that. But that's a good price for that card. I mean, it's half the price of its next closest competitor. Again, you could, if you had deep pockets, you had $1,000 just sitting around, you could buy that and list it for $3.25 per BCX. That's like a 55% profit or something. That's a great profit margin. You could buy it for $1,000 and list it for $1,500. The 50% profit margin, and you would still be the cheapest one out there by a lot, by almost $200. Maybe that sells, maybe it doesn't. I don't love that trade. This would be one I would pass on. I should say also on that example, if you did do that, you bought this one, you've got look at $1,000 for this one, $1,800 for that one. You could raise your price as much as say $700, which is a 70% profit, right? You could start there, and then if this guy starts to compete with you and lowers his price, you can continue to lower your price and lower your price and lower your price up to the point, right? Because you don't want to sell it for less than $1,000. That's taking a loss. So you'd have to sell it even for about $1,200 would be kind of your floor. So I don't know if I like that one for a lot of reasons. First, because I have it. Second, because it's quite expensive. Third, because, you know, you're not appealing to a wide audience of players with this card at a higher level, right? There's only so many champions out there that are going to need that. Enchanted Defender is a great card, but no, there's no real good flips there. Skeleton Assassin, no good flip. Nope. Feral Spirit. And these ones that I'm quickly passing by, I'm passing by them because they don't have a copy. Is there no Feral Spirits on the market? 0? Okay, good. So what I'm looking for is several copies like this that have many BCX, like 505, 505, 505. But then I'm looking actually for one that's even smaller at the top. That's the cheapest one should be smaller than the max level. But there should be several maxes to give you a sense of the floor. So this one is interesting maybe, but not really. No, not really. Spineback Turtle's a good one. This is interesting. Look at this with me. Yeah, this is really interesting. So look, 115 BCX, $2.70 each, $310. That's going to put you at a level 7. That's going to be great for gold. It's going to be good for silver too, but really it's a gold level card. At 300, this is an excellent card with the hit points and the armor, and at that level it's going to have 2 attack points. It's an excellent card. It's got the thorns. This card is really, really, really good. It's a beta, so you're not going to have access to it when you move into the modern and wild format, right? So this would be something. It's a low mana cost. This is what I would consider a sexy card. This is a strong buy. This is even better than that Goblin Sorcerer because this one isn't max level. So it's going to be appealing to a broader range of buyers, right? Do you see that? It's really important you see that. A max copy of any card is only appealing to somebody who wants to compete at what level? Champion, because they're using max cards. This card is going to appeal to gold players, to silver players on a rental market. Obviously, some diamonds, even some champion players are gonna use this level because they don't have enough money to get the big boy. And look, at $2.70 per BCX, it looks like. Yeesh. Okay, I didn't see this, to be honest. This one here at $270.97 is your direct competitor. If you came in and you listed yours at $3 or $4 or $5, which I was thinking, this guy's going to get bought before you. And this guy too. But you know, this is one of those situations where if you had really deep pockets, over $1,000, I would literally buy all 3 of them, all 4 of them. $200, $400, $800, $1,100. Spent it right there, and then just relist them all for $5. Okay, not this one. That's too much. But this one, and this one. $200, $700, $1,000, and immediately relist them all for $6 per BCX. And then you're going to be cheap compared to this guy. And this one will sell quick at $6. This is still a strong flip, even if these ones don't work. If you bought all 3, you could just change the market overnight, like instantly, right? You just rewrite what the new price is for this Spineback Turtle. And you need to be patient with that. Like, it might take weeks or months for those to sell, but I feel confident that they would, because this is an old beta card and it's going to be desirable, especially when we separate into modern and wild. Those are the considerations I'm taking into consideration, right? It's valuable because it's a good card. It's a tank. It's possibly even a carry card, especially in little leagues. It's one of the best tanks in the game, really, for what it costs. And then they're not max copies, and they're really, really inexpensive compared to the individual BCX. So I would say those are really strong maybes. See, even this one by itself, if you had $1,000, this is a home run. You buy all three of them and you relist them right away for $5 or $6 each, and they will sell eventually. But if you didn't have the $1,000 and you had $200, this is a strong maybe because it's half price. Look at this guy for 26 BCX. He's charging $760. And here you are for double the BCX and you're charging half that price. This at least could go to $5. At least $6 easy. I think you could buy this and sell it for $400. Like double your money. But 350 is probably, you know, a sure bet. That's really tempting. So this, and then you have to take a minute and think about it thoroughly. Am I willing to invest $182? What if it doesn't sell for the next week or two? Am I going to be stressed out because I want to use that money in other ways? Like Chaos Legion's coming soon. Do I want to have that money when the general sale happens? What if this flip doesn't unfold before then? There's a lot to consider, but that's what flipping is. And that's how it works. And that's how you understand value. Is it a good card? First of all, is it a low price compared to the market? You need to analyze it based on looking how much the full copies go for and how much the individual copies go for, and trying to imagine what a fair price actually should be. Is it a good price? Is it a high value? Like, is the card excellent? Is like I said earlier, is it a sexy card? It is. What else? There was a couple other things. And then I guess, are you willing to, can you use the card? Like if it doesn't sell, can you use the card? And then if it takes a week, a month, even 6 months to sell it, are you going to be stressed, concerned because you want to reinvest that value elsewhere? If so, that might be too much money for you. Maybe you need to keep looking because you need like a $20 flip, not a $180 flip. Okay, so that's flipping, and that's understanding price versus value. I don't think I'm going to buy any of those, even though I'm super tempted, because like I just finished by saying, Chaos Legion General Sale is coming. I still am trying to put together enough vouchers to get 1,000 pre-sale packs. All of that is feeding into my current situation. So I'm not willing to take a chance that I buy that and it doesn't flip right away. But there is amazing money to be had here if you do this wisely, and if you spend half an hour in here every day analyzing the cards like I just showed you and trying to find those ones that are really they stand out, that they're awesome, tons of usefulness, and yet their price for some reason is really inexplicably low. So that's flipping, and that's the analysis of high value and comparing that to price. And I think if you implement those strategies, you're going to do really well for yourself. But it takes time too, and understand that I was just showing you like $1,000 examples. But if you come over here and look at some of the more newer cards like Reward or Untamed or Dice, you're going to see some options in here that might be much cheaper. Look at this guy right here. No, not good enough. Not good enough. Maybe. Nope. Let's look at some of the old... Oh yeah, I should do the Flamesmith, remember? That was a $10 card. Look, somebody bought it. I think somebody did the flip. I'm pretty sure somebody bought the card that I was looking at and relisted it for $1 or 99 cents. Because this is 14 BCX. And remember, it was there was one in here that was 77 cents or something. So it's happening all the day long. And if you come in here, you can find deals. There's one thing I have to finish on, because I know someone's going to say, but DEC is worth so many airdrop points. Don't spend your DEC on this type of process. Or one more thing about that. People say flipping doesn't really work because you come in here today and you spend 50,000 DEC on a card or cards, and then you relist them, and later on you get paid in fewer DEC, and they say, oh, I lost money because DEC gives you airdrop points. That's how they think about it. That's not how I've ever looked at it. I'm trying to gain US dollar value, and you don't do one flip and then stop. You do one flip and then another flip and then another flip and another flip. So it doesn't matter how many DEC you end up with. It's how many US dollar value you end up with in the end. And you're going to grow that USD value. So even if at the end of the 2 years of doing this, you have, if DEC are worth double or triple or quadruple what they are now, which they won't be, but if they are, it's not going to matter because you've turned 600 US dollars into 6,000 US dollars. So if that number of USD translates into smaller DEC, who cares? Because you've 10x your money in that course of time. That's how I feel about that. I understand some of you guys only care about having the airdrop points, and you think you can just hold your DEC and don't do any of this. If you watch the video till the end and and that's how you feel, I guess all I could say to you is we have different opinions on how to reinvest in this game and how to maximize the rewards you're receiving. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. And thank you so much for your time and attention. Have an amazing day. God bless.